What's going on, everyone? It's the People's Envoy, Updog here with you, and today I got some exciting news. We are able to share the details of the Shadow King trial, I guess you want to call them. I guess they can still call them trials, right? So, you can check out some of the other Envoy videos as far as like the full blog that they're going to be releasing later today, but I'm going to focus more on what teams you need to get ready. Now, I don't know exactly the enemies on the nodes, but based on all of the trials we've had in the past, I can kind of take a good guess as far as like what teams that you should probably have ready for this trial. Now, in the blog, it does say that difficulty 1 through 10 will not have any kind of star gating or anything like that. Difficulties 11, 12, and 13, they will have a... No, I'm sorry, 11 and 12. Just 11 and 12 will have a 5 yellow star gate on Illuminati and Annihilators, but Captain Britain is excluded from any kind of star gate. So no matter if you have him at 3 stars or 7 stars, you can use him wherever in the sections that he's allowed. So that is the deal there. So then 13, 14, and 15 are going to have a 6 yellow star-gated requirement, not a 7 yellow for that top difficulty, which is what we had for Old Man Logan. So myself and the other envoys are very concerned about a ton, thousands, tens of thousands maybe, of ties on the leaderboards. So it's probably going to come down to like it was, unless they change it. But Old Man Logan Trials was all about efficiency, scores, and if you remember how it worked with Old Man Logan, it's kind of the same how Crucible works, where let's say you clear like all of the enemies with one team except for like 2 enemies left, and they have really low health, and your team dies, right? The first team you brought in there dies, but you have 2 enemies left. You go in there with another team and you kill those 2 enemies real quick. That's going to get you a higher efficiency score, because the way the system works is if you... it only counts the amount of turns that you take when you finally clear the whole node. That'll be something to keep in mind. I'm going to probably try to do some videos on how to get through the trial on the hardest difficulty. I know some of the other content creators probably will too, but I'm going to try and go with some more free-to-play friendly options. And same with this list that I'm going to show you here in just a minute. So that is the long introduction. So let's get into the teams here and the traits. So the first node is going to be no restrictions. And I have this squad here, which, by the way, I'm going to put another, kind of like I did with the Battle World teams. I'm going to put a link in the description to download these save squads, so you can just pull them up real quick and start going in there with them. So the first node is non-restrictions, no restrictions, and I picked some of the characters that you will want to build up their cooldowns on. So Black Knight is just here basically to protect everybody else. He doesn't really have much of a place in this trial, so we're going to just use him as bait, I guess you want to call it. So you're going to want to build up Skrulls up to his ultimate. I think it'd be okay to use his special early on in the match in that node, but make sure you have the special and the ult ready. Vol, I think you just want to basic with her on this first node, get that ultimate built up, and that way you'll have it, because you'll see down here we'll be using her. And then Deathpool, I want to build up her charges. I want to build up those 5 charges. So the special is like a 4 or 5 turn cooldown, if I remember right. So make sure you have that available. So I would just basic with Deathpool and Vol for sure. Skrull, he's a little bit safer to use that special since it's such a short cooldown. And then APOC is just here for extra damage to get through the wave. You can maybe use his special if you need it. I wouldn't use his ult though, because it might be a little bit hard to get that energy back, because he could potentially be used in one of these nodes later down the line. So something to keep in mind there. So that's the unrestricted node, the very first node. Then the second one is going to be Illuminati, and obviously if you have Captain Britain, you probably want to use him. There are going to be some of the packs available. It's going to turn on Crucible abilities and Arena abilities. Not War abilities. There's not a War one. But if you want to get more details on all those packs that we're going to have in this trial, make sure to check out some of your other Envoy videos. But I will say that yes, Crucible and Arena abilities are going to be turned on. So the other packs aren't really going to be too crazy. So that's why, again, why I say the leaderboard is going to just be tied to no end. So yeah, Illuminati. Now remember, on the higher difficulty, there's a 6 yellow star requirement on that. So the next node up, the third node, is going to be Global Villains. Now, funny enough, I was going to do a video before they gave us this information, kind of speculating what teams to build up and what traits are going to be there besides Illuminati and what traits are going to be there besides Illuminati and Annihilators. And I'll just show you right here. So I'll just show you right there. Look, I have Orcus, Night Stalkers, Asgardians, Undying. So I thought those characters were going to be pretty important, I guess, for this trial. And they would be kind of like we had Spider Society was going to be like the #1 choice for, was it Old Man Logan trial maybe? I don't remember exactly, but yeah, I think it's going to be just like that, where this global villain section, we're going to need Orcus, and if you don't have Orcus, then it's going to be pretty rough. There's probably going to be mutants in that section that are going to mess you up unless you have Orcus built up. So that's why I'm saying Orcus for global villains. They got great sustain, great control, so definitely a good team to go with there. Then the fourth node is going to be Brawlers, any brawler. So that's why I think this is the ideal team for Brawlers. Obviously Skrull's great, Nightcrawler, Thanos. Now I did put Blade in here because originally I had Lady Deathstrike, and you might want to, if you have her in a good spot as far as health goes or cooldowns, then definitely use her. But I think Blade's an excellent fill-in as well for her. And then Vol. So we have Skrull putting out an exposed, Thanos, Vol, and Nightcrawler all putting out exposed. So we should get a lot of energy generation with this team, and it shouldn't be a problem to keep your cooldowns up, or shouldn't be a problem to build up your cooldowns and be in good shape at the end of the node. So hopefully your team is still alive, although they are probably tuning these nodes, these brawler nodes, around having Skrull. So that's something to keep in mind too. It might be pretty difficult. Same goes for global villain. Technically APOC is a global villain, so they probably tuned it around him, or they, like I said, they might have just tuned it around having Orcus. So usually the non-restricted node isn't very hard. I wouldn't worry too much about that. So the fifth node is going to be Mercenaries or Undying. Now, like I said, no war abilities are going to be active on this trial. So Mercs for Money is going to be a great option to use in there. The other Mercenaries, I mean, they could be used as like a sack team, or Undying could be used as a sack team. But I think this is going to be the main team that you're going to want to have built big. And that's why we're charging up this death pool, get her charges all the way up. as much as you can anyway, so that she can insta-kill somebody right off the bat if you need to. Like I said, we don't know the enemies yet, but that is my thought process there. Alright, so for the 6th node is going to be full Annihilators team. And obviously, there's not much to talk about there, so just have them as big as you can, because I'm sure it's going to be tough. Now we're kind of getting into, let's see, the 7th node is going to be kind of a repeat, so it's going to be global villains. And let's say you lose a couple of your members because it's so hard, because it is going to be probably tuned around having APOC and Orcus, so if you do happen to have lost some of your Orcus members, this is another backup team that I came up with. Cabal, APOC, and Morgan. Now, obviously another option is APOC with Orcus too is a great option. But this is a good backup choice. If you lose APOC, let's say, then just make sure you put in a villain that can go fairly fast or does a lot of damage in the first place, because then Cabal just kind of boost that up because of the Crucible abilities that are going to be able to be turned on with one of those packs. Now, the next squad here is a backup Brawler squad. It's not the greatest team. You may need a sack. Maybe, I mean, there's so many Brawlers in the game that it'll be pretty easy to sack those Brawler nodes. But, again, with it being probably going to be tuned around having Skrull and Thanos and Nightcrawler, they might be pretty tough. So this is a backup team. You know, you got Red Hulk, Black Cat. I threw Kraven and Vulture in there, Guardian for the offense up. So it's not the greatest, but it might be able to get you through one of those nodes there if something bad happens on your Brawler team. So, and then the 9th node, second to last node, is going to be, again, Mercenaries or Undying. I just threw Undying in here just in case you needed them for a sack or something. And then go back in there with Mercenary, with the Mercs for money. So that's why they're here. And then the last node is going to be Annihilators and Illuminati. So if you want to combine the two teams, you may want to do like Gladiator, Thanos. Gore might be an option depending on what enemies are on the node. But then I would probably do... you know what? No. I'd probably do both teams. Like maybe Annihilators as a sack and then Illuminati to clean up or something. Because Annihilators can take a lot of damage. And they can probably get through most of that node. And then that way, like I was talking about at the beginning, you can leave like 1 or 2 characters left. Go in there with Illuminati, just immediately destroy them, and then you get better efficiency score that way. So that's my suggestions for the trials. I'll be putting out a video on how to get through the nodes on the higher difficulties, more of a free-to-play option. That means I probably won't be using Zombie Scarlet Witch here. Or, let's see. Or I'll try it without Captain Britain too for you guys. Hopefully that's something for you guys to keep in mind and start looking at. The trials will begin on November 22nd, which is next week on Friday. Next week from this recording. And yeah, that's all I got for you. So hope that helps. Make sure you spend those resources wisely, and we will see you in the next one.